Hi, I'm Joe Walensky, and I'm the program manager for ConveyUX, which is produced by Blink. And we've been doing ConveyUX in Seattle for the past 7 years, and we have the 8th annual one coming up in Seattle in March. But this year we've added in a new special themed event that's going to be in Boston, August 15 and 16, and the theme is the nexus of product and UX. And so I get a chance to talk with many of the presenters that will be at that event. And one of them is a past speaker from ConveyUX, Jaime Levy. How are you doing today, Jaime?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show, Joe.
Well, it's always good to talk with you. And I'm in Blink's Seattle headquarters office. Where are you talking to us from?
From Los Angeles, California.
Well, why don't we start out just by you talking a little bit about your background and the things you do. You're obviously well known in our field, but for people that may not be familiar with where you've been or where you're at now, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I've been at it for about 30 years from before the web. I started out actually making disc magazines, and then once the web came out, then of course I was there in New York for .com and focused a lot on producing content. Once I moved to LA, around 2002, that was when I started working for agencies doing user experience work, and quickly got bored with just doing design, even leading design. I had a taste of strategy, which was then called the discovery phase. And that was when I decided I really wanted to focus on UX strategy, so much that I started teaching courses on it. And then eventually I wrote a book on it that's called UX Strategy.
Well, you're always involved in a lot of things. You keep yourself really busy traveling around. What's going on right now with you and your life?
Well, literally today I'm packing to go on quite an extensive trip. I'm going to go live in Berlin this summer. My teenage son is coming with me for some of it. And the primary goal there, besides having fun in the beer gardens, is to work on the second edition of UX Strategy in a famous library there.
So what's going on with the new edition? What kind of new insights have you been noodling about? Well,
since I put the book out, it came out in 2015, which means I wrote it from 2013 to 14. As you mentioned, I did a lot of touring. I've done about 100 workshops and taught a lot of classes, did more projects, and got a lot of feedback on the book, which I've been compiling. And the first book also focused on me working with startups and basically showing how to practice my techniques and then telling the story of the startups, most of which failed. And for the second book, it's still my methodology. It hasn't changed. I've just sharpened it, fine-tuned it from all the feedback, and then pivoted, like everyone else from the lean startup movement, over to focusing on more UX strategy for the enterprise. And so taking a clue from my favorite book, Blue Ocean Strategy, and other books where they look at case studies, I'm reaching out to people who work at larger enterprises and hoping to tell their story. Hopefully some of them have used my techniques, whether it be the storyboarding, competitive strategy, different forms of the way I do prototyping and user research. And that's going to be a big change, along with the chapter on digital transformation, which I'm really excited about, and obviously I'm speaking about that at the conference. And I think the other thing I'm doing that I'm excited about is I want to document the process. A lot of people ask what it's like to be an author when you're not an author, when you're someone who's a practitioner who decides to write a book. And even though the first book's a lot easier, the second book, I'm writing about everything from dealing with contract negotiations to how hard it is to get people to interview with me, to writer's block, to whatever it is that I'm going through over the next 500 days as I write the book, to just be really transparent, and also to hopefully get more feedback from people as I write it. Not necessarily releasing chapters, that's for O'Reilly to do, but definitely talk about things that I'm reconsidering for this new book.
Well, you mentioned one of the new chapters of the book is digital transformation. That's the keynote presentation that you're going to be doing at the conference. So give us a little thumbnail of that talk.
Sure. So digital transformation basically is UX strategy on acid. That's like the quickest way I could sum it up. Instead of just focusing on product strategy, which basically is UX strategy, where the intersection of UX design meets business strategy, it goes well beyond that. Instead of looking at a product, you're looking at companies who potentially are building platforms, integrating lots of products, or you're looking at companies, the ones that I'm personally excited about, that aren't really digitally native companies. Case studies I love are like Herman Miller. Obviously, they sell chairs. Talking about like how they applied, went through, digitization, digital transformation to basically optimize not just how they use digital on their websites, but really how they had to reinvent themselves in terms of optimizing their workforce, looking for different business models. The biggest thing with these companies is that they're being challenged by the disruptors who, whether it be Adobe or Apple or Google, who all of a sudden are getting into sectors like healthcare or mobility, et cetera. And so the traditional companies, the incumbents, need to protect themselves. And so I'm really interested in telling people about this and talking about some of the techniques I did when I worked on a one-year digital transformation program.
Well, in addition to the that talk that you're going to be giving, you're also going to be offering a mini workshop, which is on your topic, conducting competitive research and analysis or devising innovative products. So that's going to be a little bit more of an interactive activity for a couple of hours. So what are you going to cover there?
Well, I hope you love spreadsheets if you want to come to that, because it's really about doing a systematic form of market research. Historically, a lot of companies, especially when it's done by digital companies, when they look at their competitors, if they bother, then they maybe put everything into a static doc, and they aren't very systematic or methodical about how they look at the companies. They just maybe look at the design of the products, and they don't think about, well, the business models, the channels the companies use to acquire suspects. So I'm basically teaching people how to fill out this, basically the spreadsheet that I created in Google Docs, where they find all these data points, so that when they're focused on whether reinventing an existing product or coming up with a new idea, they really have a good idea of the landscape out there.
Well, I appreciate you taking this time to talk about what you're up to and the sessions that you'll be doing at the conference. And it should be a good opportunity for people to meet you in a more relaxed environment and chat about similar interests. So we'll look forward to seeing you in Boston in August.
I look forward to meeting everybody and seeing you too. Thanks so much, Joe.